Hi guys, and welcome back to another VGC 2019 Moon Series How to Play guide. We've already covered a lot of Pokemon throughout this Moon Series so far. If you've missed any of the guides up to now, go up here. I'll link a card for you beautiful people so you can go back and check them all out and get some idea of how those restricted Pokemon can be used in this format, giving you some ideas, hopefully inspiring you to make some good builds and get going in this format. But today we're going to focus on a brand new Pokemon. We're going to focus on the Pokemon from the Sun Series, Solgaleo. So what better way to kind of kick us into today than going into that fiery steel Pokemon. I say fiery, it's a steel psychic type, but we'll get into that in a moment. But before we get into the content, as always, if you enjoy these sort of videos, make sure that you do leave a like on the video down below. If you can't find it, it's a little thumb button, just click it if you like this sort of content, just to support the channel, make sure that I'm getting the vibes that you're enjoying these episodes. And also make sure that you do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these guides when they do pop up on the channel. And also, more importantly than anything else, make sure you leave your comments in the comment section below, because I love hearing from you guys, hearing your thoughts on these guides so we can move forward with brand new things and improve things all the time. So I'll just say thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed today's guide, and without further ado, let's get into it. So as always, I'm going to start with a quick Pokemon overview. Going to look at Solgaleo. It is a psychic and steel Pokemon. It has the ability Full Metal Body, which does give it the ability to deny any stat drops from opposing Pokemon. Things like Intimidate will not have an effect on it. Things like Icy Wind will not have effect on it, but it doesn't help you if you're using Superpower. So if you use Superpower, you'll still get the attack and defense drop because it's something you're using yourself. So you've got to be aware of that. It doesn't stop all attack drops just from opposing Pokemon. It's got a base stat total of 680, which is a kind of standard for all your restricted Pokemon. Distribution here of 137 HP, 137 attack, 107 defense, 113 special attack, 89 special defense, and 97 speed. So a nice speed stat comparing it to the other restricted Pokemon in this format. It gets a jump on a lot of other things which are generally base 90. It's got a huge 137 attack stat and a huge 137 HP stat, so they're the standout ones in this set. It's got a respective special attack of 113, but you're predominantly going to see this Pokemon used as a physical attacker. Common attack options you're going to see on Solgaleo are things like Sunsteel Strike, it's its signature steel type attack. Zen Headbutt going to benefit from the psychic typing as well for that stem stat attack bonus. Superpower, a nice option on Solgaleo as well to hit things like Incineroar with that fighting type there, and then Flare Blitz as well, which gives it fire coverage, which is also a very nice option to hit opposing steel types and other fire weak Pokemon. And then just a few options to look at: type strengths and weaknesses. Because of that steel and psychic typing, it's going to have weaknesses to, unfortunately, ground, ghost, fire, and dark, with an immunity to poison, but it has some incredible resists in normal, flying, rock, steel, grass, psychic, ice, dragon, and fairy. The list goes on. And then damage normally by everything else. So incredible resists on this Pokemon, making it very strong with that ability, which is incredible. A very threatening, powerful, fast physical type attacker in this format, and a very good option for a restricted Pokemon on anyone's team. So without further ado, let's get into the first sample set of this guide. The first sample set we're going to look at today is going to be the Solgaleo Z. The Solgaleo Z is Solgaleo's signature Z move. It bases itself off the Sunsteel Strike that Solgaleo is carrying, and is a steel type base 200 damaging attack. So it's incredibly strong and can do some big damage to a lot of things, even resisted things. We're going to look at a adamant nature for this sample set, an effort value total of 124 HP, 196 attack, 4 defense, 156 special defense, and then 28 speed. Feel like with Solgaleo, because it has access to Trick Room as well, you can get away with running a bit of a slow one, and that bulk is very, very essential to be able to take some big hits in this sort of format and then be able to throw that big damage out in return. To give you an example of the attacking calculation with this Z move, so 196 attack boosted, Solgaleo's Searing Sunrays Smash versus a 4 HP, no defense Yveltal. It has an 81% chance to knock out. So against your standard Yveltal, you can have a very good chance of knocking this thing out. So if you can get any sort of speed control versus Yveltal, and you can get yourself in a position to hit it, if it's it's threatening you quite heavily, which it will do with that dark typing, you can guarantee if you've got a tiny bit of chip onto this Pokemon, or you've got any helping hand support with this Z move, that you'll be able to knock it out, remove it, and take that threat away from the field. And a defensive calc that we're going to look at here, with this defense investment, you can see a 252 special attack Kyogre Water Spout in the rain versus this Solgaleo only has a damage output of 71 to 84%, so making sure that you can take that 100% of the time and put yourself in a position where you can maybe get the Trick Room set up to support that next turn, or just get an attack off to do some big damage on Kyogre in return. So common partners you're going to see with this sort of Solgaleo are going to be things like Tapu Koko. Really does help against things like Yveltal, which really do threaten Solgaleo quite heavily. Kyogre are going to be very nice to support that fire weakness that Solgaleo's got, also support against those ground weaknesses that it's very threatened by, namely by Groudon, and then Amoonguss as well, which has the redirection support and also performs well in Trick Room that Solgaleo can help support. Common checks are going to be things like Yveltal that we've already covered, Groudon as well, another option there that will just be able to do so much damage, and it's so defensively built as well. It's going to take those big physical attacks easily and return with big Precipice Bays in return. And then Incineroar as well. If you haven't got access to superpower on Solgaleo, Incineroar is going to give you a lot of trouble. So that is the signature Z move, Solgaleo Z set, and we'll move on to the next example here, which is going to be another Z move, but a variation of the Z move. It's going to be the Tinium Z. Rather than taking advantage of that Sunsteel Strike, you're now taking advantage of the superpower that Solgaleo has access to, which will give you access to 190 base power fighting type attack, which is just incredibly strong and can catch a lot of Pokemon that your opponent will rely on to deal with Solgaleo off guard and pick up big knockouts. So an attacking calculation here, we can see we've got that 76 attack investment with an adamant nature. Solgaleo all out pummeling versus a 236 HP 4 defense. Incineroar is a guaranteed one hit kill, which is incredible. So you can take one of the big threats out of your opponent's team pretty easily if you can just land this move onto it. We've got an effort value total for this particular Solgaleo of 228 HP, 76 attack, 4 defense, 140 special defense, and 60 speed. And one of the things that you're going to get from this EV spread defensive wise is a 252 special attack. So this is a timid Lunala Moongeist Beam versus this particular Solgaleo is a guaranteed 2 hit kill. So you can always ensure that you are able to take that attack at least once, and which will give you room again to either get your Z move off, get the Trick Room set up, or just hit something else that's partnering, possibly Lunala or even Lunala itself. Common partners we're going to see with this Solgaleo are going to be things like Incineroar. It's a nice switch into the things that do really threaten Solgaleo quite hard. Tapu Lele as well, going to bring that terrain to boost Zen Headbutts, protected from priority attacks, namely Sucker Punch. And then Yveltal as well is another nice partnering Pokemon to Solgaleo, because Solgaleo protects Yveltal very well against those fairy type threats, and then Yveltal protects Solgaleo from those ghost types that do threaten it very hard. Common checks you're going to see to Solgaleo are going to be other options like Volcarona. It has access to Overheat, it is faster than it can throw out that Z move, do a lot of damage to you. Landorus as well, now it has access to Tectonic Rage. You've got to be very careful around that. It can't intimidate you, but you've got to be very careful around those ground type attacks. And then Lunala is one Pokemon that does do a very good job against Solgaleo, so things to watch out for if you are playing it. Right, that is that set. We'll move on to another variation, which is going to be the Life Orb set, and we've not went for anything flash here. With the Life Orb, you just want to maximize your attack. You're getting a 30% boost with that item, but you do have the cost of recoil every turn, so it will chip away at your HP number. We're going for a Jolly Nature, like I said, to maximize the speed stat with an EV spread of 4 HP, 252 attack, 252 speed. Not going anything fancy here. Like I say, we just want to go straight down the line. We know what we want to be doing, hitting hard and hitting fast, and with this sort of spread you can do that. We've got an attacking example here, a 252 attack Life Orb boosted Solgaleo superpower versus a 252 HP. No defense stack attacker is a guaranteed one hit kill, which is pretty huge. So if stack attacker is something that you need to get rid of, you can sit in front of it quite happily and just press that button and take it out of the situation. Defensive calculation with no investment here on the defensive side. You can still see that a 252 attack Groudon Precipice Blades versus this Solgaleo is still a 2 hit kill, which is pretty good, showing its just natural bulk here, able to take that Precipice Blade. That is off a double targeting attack. attack though, so if you go single target it will pick up the knockout, just be aware of that. Common partners that you're going to see with this sort of Solgaleo are going to be things like Zygarde, Tapu Fini and Venusaur, and then common checks again, just to name a few, are going to be Gengar. Outspeeds you, can threaten you with Z move. Ho-Oh does a very good job against Solgaleo, especially if you haven't got Zen Headbutt. You've got very few options to hit this Pokemon, and then Dialga as well. For most part, if you haven't got the superpower there, then Dialga can cause you all sorts of problems, because it will just resist the Sunsteel Strike, the Zen Headbutt, and Dialga can do a number one-on-one if you are lacking that superpower. So that is the Life Orb set. Straightforward, just hits hard, hits fast. Hope it's a nice example for you guys, and maybe a good one just to get yourselves introduced to Solgaleo if you haven't played it before, and a nice alternative to the Z move if that's an option that you can't fit onto your team. Next sample set we're going to look at is the Guava Berry. We're going again with an Adamant Nature, just maximizing that attack stat, which you always, I feel, want to do with Solgaleo. Make sure that you're maximizing your physical attacks that you're getting out onto your opponent's Pokemon. Attacking calculations here, we've got a 12 plus attack Solgaleo at Zen Headbutt versus a 236, 76 defense. Amoonguss in Psychic Terrain is always a guaranteed one hit kill, so that's a nice calculation. Amoonguss is such a prominent Pokemon in this format. Just making sure that you got the Psychic Terrain up there to support the Solgaleo means that you can remove it quite easily from the field without much threat of it being able to disrupt your side of the field. You're going to have an EV spread for this Solgaleo of 236 HP, 12 attack, 116 defense, 116 special defense, and 28 speed. Trick Room's a nice option on this type of Solgaleo as well, just to give you a bit of an option to flip the dimensions, get a bit of a speed advantage on your opponent, even counter Tailwind if your opponent is going down that route. Defensive calculation from this Solgaleo, you can see a 252 special attack. Spooky Plate boosted Lunala Moongeist Beam versus this particular Solgaleo is a 12.5% chance to knock out, so most of the time you're going to be able to take that attack from that boosted Lunala. Going to see common partners with this Solgaleo are going to be things like Kartana, Tapu Lele and Landorus, and then common checks again are a bit like the common partners in the last table. You're going to have things like Tapu Fini, which can really support partnering Pokemon like Zygarde, boosted up with heal pulses, make sure that it's staying on the field, and then Zygarde does do a number with those 1000-hour attacks that it can throw out on Solgaleo. Very super effective. Ground type options there, and then Incineroar as well, another Pokemon. If you haven't got access to that superpower, then you will struggle against this Pokemon like we've already mentioned. So that is the Guava Berry set, 50% berry set, and now we'll finish up with a counter options and summary of Solgaleo. So like we've mentioned, it is a Psychic Steel type. It has got that full metal body ability, great ability. Common attack and options you're going to see on Solgaleo are definitely going to be things like Sunsteel Strike, that steel type attack, Zen Headbutt, Superpower, Flare Blitz, just to name a few. You're going to have a maximum speed stat, raw speed stat that Solgaleo can hit of 163. So again, if you're wanting things to really check Solgaleo, just make sure that you're outspeeding that speed stat, and every time you're going to be able to take it down. Minimum speed on this Solgaleo with a 0 speed IV minus nature is going to be 91 raw speed stat. So again, on the counter side of the fast mode, if you want to underspeed it in Trick Room, just make sure you're underspeeding that 91 speed stat and you should be fine. And the common speed stat we're seeing on most Solgaleos is that 121 speed stat. So just some things to keep in mind. Get yourselves familiar with those speed stats so you know how to approach this Pokemon. Common items we're going to see on Solgaleo are going to be things like the Solgaleo Z, the Tinium Z, the Life Orb, and the Citrus Berry as well, and the 50% berry are options as well that we've covered in today's guide. You're going to see best format checks to Solgaleo are going to be things, ground types like Groudon, Landorus do such a good job. If you've not got superpower, then Incineroar becomes a big problem to deal with. Things that you need to check. Drifblim is going to be something that can hit Solgaleo for good damage. It can burn it as well, so you need really good support options around Drifblim. Gengar and Lunala are the ghost types as well that will threaten you pretty hard. Format walls as well, they're not going to be able to do too much back, but they will be for the most part able to disrupt and support the rest of their team to really put the hinders on Solgaleo operating very well. That's things like Bronzong and Duskmane Necrozma with that same steel psychic typing. And then Aegislash I've put in here. You know, for the most part, if you haven't got Flare Blitz, you've really got no option or ways to hit this Pokemon in turn with big ghost type attacks to do a lot of damage and disrupt Solgaleo's ability to perform well. Common partners you're going to see with Solgaleo are going to be things like Tapu Koko, Kyogre and Incineroar. We've went through the reasons why. Kyogre with its rain supports against those fire type threats. It's a very good check to ground types in this format as well, especially if it's holding something like the Choice Scarf. Tapu Koko supports against the dark type threats, namely Yveltal. Has a fast pivot as well to help support and get things in that can benefit from that Trick Room. Also supports against Sporing as well from Amoonguss if you do go down a Trick Room route. And then Incineroar with that Intimidate support, Fake Out support to help Solgaleo maneuver and set up and do its job that it needs to on the field. So that wraps up Solgaleo. I hope you have enjoyed this guide. A few examples of some sample sets and things to take away, try, give you a bit of inspiration for the rest of the format, and just give you an idea of the things that Solgaleo is capable of. That Z move is ridiculous. It hits for 200 base power. It's a bit of a strange one because it's a steel type Z move, and that's maybe not the most common thing that you want to rely on. The Tinium Z though is such a nice option to get rid of things like Incineroar, Stack Attack like we've mentioned, and just gives Solgaleo just an extra dimension to its game. It's got options in Trick Room as well, which are very, very good for supporting not just Solgaleo but the rest of the team, and gives you a countermeasure against opposing Tailwind and things like that are setting up. So that wraps it up. I hope you've enjoyed this guide. As always, do leave your comments down below, and we'll see you very soon for another guide in the VGC 2019 Moon Series. Until then guys, take care of yourselves and bye bye.